In this tutorial on industrial instrumentation, we will talk about pressure measurement part 3. We will cover vacuum and very high pressure measurement. The topics that we will cover here are vacuum gauge, under which we will see McLeod gauge, Pirani gauge, thermocouple gauge, ionization cathode gauge, which are of three types: hot cathode, cold cathode, and Alphaton vacuum gauge. Then we have Knudsen gauge and quartz reference vacuum gauge. Under very high pressure gauge, we have Bridgman gauge. Any pressure in the range of 10 to the power minus 2 to 10 to the power minus 10 torr is termed as vacuum pressure. There are main 5 types of vacuum pressure gauges, which are McLeod gauge, which is a mechanical type gauge. Then we have Pirani gauge and thermocouple gauge, which are thermal type gauges. We have ionization gauge, under which we have hot and cold cathode types, which are again ionization type gauges. We have Alphaton gauge, which is an alpha particle radiation type gauge. And lastly, we have Knudsen gauge, which is a momentum transfer type device. The McLeod pressure gauge is an inferential pressure measurement method used in measuring vacuum pressure. Here, pressure is determined by measuring other pressure control properties like volume, thermal conductivity, etc. It comes under the category of inferential pressure measurement method. The Boyle's law is the fundamental working principle of McLeod gauge, which is given as P1 equal to P2V2 by V1, with P and V being the pressure and the volume and subscript 1 and 2 denoting the initial and the final conditions. The McLeod gauge is mainly used for calibration purposes of other inferential type pressure gauges. The measurement range of the McLeod gauge is of the order of 10 raised to minus 4 torr. The McLeod gauge body is made up of glass with a capillary C, a bulb B, a pressure application limb E, a cutoff point F, and a mercury sump that is connected to the lower part of the glass tube. This mercury sump can be moved vertically, that is up and down, as shown in the figure. The unknown pressure source is connected to the upper end of the glass tube. The unknown pressure pushes the mercury into the gauge, including the bulb B and the capillary C, with the mercury level still below the cutoff F point. The mercury is forced up into the sections B and C. When the mercury sump is lifted up, the gauge level also rises, pushing the mercury level beyond the cutoff F. And subsequently, a known volume of gas is trapped in the bulb B and capillary C. The length of the trapped gas is denoted as small h. The numerical approach to determine the pressure on the compressed gas is given as V dP2 by dt equal to K P1 minus P2, where V is the bulb volume and K is the flow conductance. dP2 dt equal to pressure gradient in time between the two elements. A volume of gas gets trapped in the capillary section whose initial before pressure and final volume are both known. The trapped height small h indicates the gas volume. Thus we have V1 P1 equal to ATH into P1 plus H equal to P1 ATH plus ATH square. Thus we get P1 into V1 minus ATH equal to ATH square. Subsequently, upon simplification, we determine the unknown pressure P by the equation P equal to H square AT by V, where H is the height of the compressed fluid column, AT is the area of cross section of the column, and V is the volume of bulb. The salient advantages of the McLeod gauge are that it is independent of the gas composition. It serves as a reference standard to calibrate other low pressure gauges. A simple relationship exists between the applied pressure and the height. There is no need to apply corrections to the McLeod gauge readings. There are certain limitations as well, which are: the gas whose pressure is to be measured should obey Boyle's law. Moisture traps must be provided to avoid any considerable vapor in the gauge. It measures only on a sampling basis. It cannot give a continuous output and it is fragile due to its glass body. The Pirani gauge is a type of thermal conductivity gauge. It comprises very fine wire made up of tungsten or platinum with a diameter of about 0.02 centimeter. The measurement range is from 10 raised to minus 3 to 1 torr. It can handle temperature fluctuating in the range from 7 to 400 degrees Celsius. The heating current that generally passes through the wire is in the range of 10 to 100 milliampere. The principle of operation is given as higher applied pressure leads to higher density, leads to higher conductivity, thus reducing the filament temperature, thus reducing the filament resistance, and vice versa for low pressure. Any conductor, for example a platinum wire, gets heated as electric current passes through them. The heat dissipation rate of the conductor is a function of the conductivity of the surrounding medium. The surrounding medium's conductivity is dependent on surrounding density, which is again dependent on the surrounding pressure. Lower the surrounding pressure, lower is the density and thus lower is the conductivity. This low conductivity will hinder the heat dissipation from the current flowing wire, keeping it hot for a lengthier time period. A Pirani gauge normally comprises a platinum or tungsten wire and a compensating cell to minimize variations due to changes in ambient temperature, and it is configured as a Wheatstone bridge circuit. Through the Wheatstone bridge circuit, a constant current is made to pass, resulting in the heating up of the platinum gauge filament. The filament resistance gets altered and the temperature increases due to the heating. The applied pressure is connected to the Pirani gauge chamber and the pressure changes the density of the medium, thereby changing its conductivity, eventually changing the filament's temperature to. As the filament temperature is changed, the filament resistance also changes, causing the Wheatstone bridge to balance itself. This resistance change in the bridge circuit indicates the magnitude of the unknown pressure. The Pirani gauge is used to measure low vacuum and ultra-high vacuum pressures. The advantages of the Pirani gauge are that they are rugged and inexpensive, they give accurate results, they have good response to pressure changes, the relationship between pressure and the resistance is linear for a range of use, the readings can be taken from at a distance. However, the limitations of the Pirani gauge are that the regular maintenance is needed. The Pirani gauge must be checked very frequently. The Pirani gauge must be calibrated for different sets of gases, and electrical power is a must for its operation. The thermocouple gauge is similar in operation to the Pirani gauge. The difference here is, however, the temperature of the hot wire is directly measured by using thermocouples. The device is enveloped inside a metal or a glass body. These gauges are capable to measure very low pressure in the range of 10 raised to minus 4 millibar to 1 millibar. Here, a thermocouple is used to measure the temperature of the hot wire. The sensitivity of the device depends on the pressure and the current flowing through the wire. Two thermocouple sets are used to measure the temperature of the heating wires inside the two chambers that oppose each other, and then the temperature measured are compared. As the pressure changes in the two chambers and a differential pressure is created, the potentiometric circuit experiences an unbalanced condition. This imbalance is due to the change in pressure only. Sometimes, instead of using a couple of thermocouples, thermopiles are used as the gauging device. The device is advantageous from the economic point of view as it is a very low cost device. The thermocouple gauge is inexpensive, however, the thermocouple wire can burn out when exposed to normal atmospheric pressure. The ionization gauge is used to measure severely low pressure conditions which can be as low as 10 raised to minus 10 torr. The output current varies in the range of 10 raised to minus 9 to 10 raised to minus 4 ampere, and the pressure measurement range is 10 raised to minus 10 to 10 raised to minus 3 torr. It has a very quick response time. The gauge has three electrodes, namely the cathode, which is the heating element, grid, and a plate, all enclosed in a glass vessel. The glass enclosure is filled with the gas. A vacuum chamber is connected whose pressure is under measurement. The cathode is heated up by electrical sources. This leads electrons to emit out at very high speed from the cathode. These highly energized electrons accelerate towards the grid, which is held at a positive potential with respect to the cathode by supply voltage V1. These electrons, when captured by the grid, produce the grid current Ig, which is noted using an ammeter A. The chamber gets ionized by the remaining free electrons, producing positively charged ions which travel towards the plate held at negatively potential with respect to the cathode, maintained by the source V2, and the plate current is constituted as Ip. The plate current is measured by ammeter B. The gas pressure is proportional to the ratio of the plate current and the grid current. The gauge sensitivity S is a function of the filled-in gas and the vessel geometry. The ionization gauge measures the unknown pressure using the equation P equal to 1 by S into Ip by Ig, where S is the gauge sensitivity, Ip is the plate current, and Ig is the grid current. The major limitations of the ionization gauge are that the heating elements burn out quickly when the pressure is not very low. Installation is tedious and requires a lot of attention. There are three types of ionization gauges. They are hot cathode ionization gauge operating in the range of 10 is to minus 10 to 10 is to minus 3 torr. Then we have cold cathode ionization gauge operating in the range of 10 is to minus 5 torr. And thirdly, we have alpha ton vacuum gauge, which is also a kind of cold cathode ionization gauge, and it operates in the range of 10 raised to minus 5 to 10 raised to minus 3 torr. The principle of operation is that of the general ionization cathode gauge, that is otherwise mentioned generally. All ionization gauges are hot cathode type only. The gauge comprises a triad, namely grid, plate and cathode. The grid is at a considerable higher voltage than the cathode. The plate is at a negative potential compared to the cathode. The pressure measurement range is 10 is to minus 10 to 10 is to minus 3 torr, and the output current is of the order 10 is to minus 9 to 10 is to minus 4 ampere. There is a minimum pressure mark which is called the critical pressure. When the critical pressure is reached, the critical voltage Vc initiates positive gas ionization as the electrons collide with the gas molecules. The critical voltage Vc is minimum for caesium and the value is 3.88 volt, and it is highest for at 24.58 volt for helium among all the monoatomic gases. For diatomic gases like nitrogen, hydrogen and others, the value of critical voltage Vc is 15 volts. At very low pressure, at a fixed accelerating potential, the number of positive ion formation is proportional to the chamber pressure. In the external type hot cathode, most of the positive ions are collected by the plate, which is external to the grid cathode system, while few positive ions are collected by the cathode. In the internal type, the plate acts as the electron collector, while the grid acts as the positive ion collector. In the picture below, we see the Bayard-Albert type hot cathode ionization gauge. In this type of hot cathode ionization gauge, the helical grid is maintained at 150 volt, attracting electrons and expediting the gas ionization process. At minus 30 volt, the centrally positioned plate attracts the gas ions, producing ion current at 100 milliampere per torr. In hot cathode system at very high temperature conditions, that is above 3000 degrees Celsius inside the chamber, and at very low pressure, the gas tends to leak out, thus altering the actual pressure conditions and giving erroneous results. In order to remedy the situation, cold cathode ionization gauge is developed. In the cold cathode, as shown here, Phillips and Penning, there are two cathodes and a hollow anode positioned in between them. A potential of more than 2000 volt is applied between the electrodes, which produces a strong magnetic field, and electrons are ejected from the cathode surface. The mean free path of the gas is very large at 10 raised to minus 2 torr, thus reducing the chances of collision. This problem is solved by introducing collimating electromagnetic field. The collimating magnetic field decreases the electron's path length and enables ion discharge at pressure of 10 raised to minus 5 torr. The output relationship tends to move away from linearity under such high electromagnetic field. The alpha-tone vacuum gauge is cheap and it does not decompose, oxidize in presence of oxygen in the chamber. An alpha-tone vacuum gauge is on principle a cold cathode gauge where we use alpha particles to ionize the gas molecules. The number of molecules ionized is directly proportional to the gas pressure. The produced ions are collected by the collector electrode and current flows through the resistor R in the circuit. It measures pressure in the range of 10 raised to minus 5 to 10 raised to minus 3 torr, and the operational current is 10 raised to minus 13 to 10 raised to minus 9 ampere. The Knudsen gauge is free from the gas composition but depends on temperature, and it also depends on the transfer of momentum as it functions on the interaction of particles with the surface. The pressure measurement range is between 10 raised to minus 8 and 10 raised to minus 3 torr. When a particle hits a hotter surface, the particles gain energy by absorbing heat. The particles lose energy on encountering a colder surface. As the particles interact with hotter or cooler surfaces, they exert force. As the movable vanes rotate between the fixed plates, the spring recoils and experiences force F. The numerical formula to determine pressure using Knudsen gauge is given as P equal to 4F Tg by Tp minus Tv, where Tp is the plate temperature and Tv is the vane temperature. The gauge has a bidirectional dial made up of aluminium suspended on vertical axis positioned in the middle of a glass tube. The gauge also has a platinum strip which is electrically heated and its temperature is monitored. The device sensitivity is altered by changing the heating current. The gap between the fixed plates and the moving vane must be lesser than the gas molecules' mean free path. The molecules rebound on the heated plates with greater momentum than it does in case of cooler movable vanes. The spring arrangement experiences the net force due to the movable vanes. The quartz reference vacuum gauge has two Bourdon tubes in the form of a helix. The pressure measurement range is 0.001 to 1000 torr. When the pressure difference between the two tubes is experienced, the device starts rotating. The deflection due to the rotation is picked up using optical circuit. This electronic circuit is further amplified and then the output is annulled using a servo control system. The corresponding output is displayed by analog techniques or counted digitally, which can be directly in pressure units. The Bourdon tubes are made up of quartz due to its good spring characteristics. The angular deflection per unit of pressure is repeated at a constant temperature. It is not useful in measuring the vacuum pressure, and fluorine content in the gas mixture causes erosion in the quartz crystal. The Bridgman device is used to measure very high pressure as high as 100,000 atmospheric pressure. If a fine wire is subjected to hydrostatic pressure, its resistance changes as given by the equation R equal to R1 into 1 plus B del P, where R is the wire resistance, R1 is the resistance at 1 atmospheric pressure, B is the pressure coefficient of resistance, normally valued at 2.5 into 10 raised to minus 11 per Pascal, and del P is the differential pressure. The wires are generally made up of manganese, that is 84% copper, 12% manganese and 4% nickel. The typical resistance value of a normal length wire used in Bridgman gauge is 100 ohm. A simple Houston bridge arrangement is used in order to determine the pressure. For more detailed reading, you can refer to the following references and links. Thank you.